Islam is the only religion where you'll walk into the worship place and not see a picture on the wall.
Just know that Islam is perfect and Muslims are not.
Everybody needs Islam.
And everybody claps afterwards.
Menurut beberapa studi, Islam menjadi salah satu agama yang paling sering disalahpahami. Dijadikan stereotip negatif bahkan menjadi sasaran fitnah. Terutama di negara-negara barat.
I think Islam
Yang menarik, ada satu kenyataan yang sulit dibantah.
There's a tremendous amount of religious switching in the United States. 90 million people who have changed their religious identities.
What is the fastest growing religion in the world?
I think Islam.
Islam. Islam.
Islam.
Islam.
Islam.
Islam. Islam.
Why saying that?
I don't know. I just feel like every time I go into a place or in my college campus especially, it's full of Islam.
Menurut data dari Pew Research Center, jumlah muslim di negara-negara seperti Prancis, Belgia, Jerman, Inggris, Amerika Serikat, dan Kanada, populasi umat Islam terus meningkat. Banyak orang yang memilih masuk Islam terutama di kalangan anak muda.
Allah, ilaha, ilaha,
illallah.
Muhammadan
Rasulullah.
I converted to Islam 2 weeks ago, and it was the best decision I ever made in my entire life. Like, that's all I have to say. Like, alhamdulillah, it was the best decision I ever made. Alhamdulillah.
Today I am a Muslim too.
I am Muslim.
Takbir! Allahu Akbar! Takbir! Allahu Akbar!
Tak hanya itu, Pew Research Center juga menyebut bahwa Islam akan terus menjadi agama dengan pertumbuhan tercepat di dunia.
Islam will grow faster than any other major religion. We're joined by Conrad Hackett, Associate Director of Research and Senior Demographer at Pew Research Center, to help us break down the study. Conrad, your study shows the religious landscape in the world is changing at a very rapid rate, relatively speaking. Give us a snapshot of what the trends are and what's going to happen by 2050.
Muslims are growing fastest, twice as fast as the world's population, about twice as fast as Christians.
Inilah jawaban-jawaban para mu'alaf di Barat yang mungkin bisa jadi pengingat atau renungan untuk kita semua.
My name is Bronco, and I live in New Mexico now, in Clovis, New Mexico. Born in El Paso, Texas.
So, what attracted you to Islam?
First of all, the Quran, and also the character of other people, of the brothers. Their character, I had never seen it, at the Mormon church, the Christian church, Catholic church. I had never seen, the diversity and all the Muslims, Before Islam, I only knew Americans, like now I know people from Afghanistan, Yemen, Somalia, from all over the world. I know Muslims from all over the world, alhamdulillah. Islam is the only religion where you'll walk into the worship place and not see a picture on the wall, or drums or music, and also like the imam, he prays on the same level as us. You don't see him on a stage, and no one's above nobody. Even when people go to Mecca, everyone's dressed the same. You can't tell who's a billionaire and who's poor. Right. They all look the same,
And what inspired you to convert to Islam as your religion of choice?
Because Islam, it teaches a religion of discipline.
What was the main thing that convinced you that Islam is 100% the truth? That this is it, this must be the truth?
When people ask me the question nowadays, like what really made you realize that Islam is the truth? I grew up in the West. I saw these people being lost, following their desires. Really individual. People are just following their desires and their ego. So who is determining the rules? Who is determining what is good and bad? And then I really saw, and this was something that I realized pretty early in my life from observing the Muslims, is I realized that if you have rules or a book that is coming from something higher and you believe in it all together, then society is much more peaceful. I saw that the Muslims were so united. There are just rules that we are living by, and that brings so much more peace. Sometimes boundaries and rules are much better than freedom, because freedom will let you follow your desires blindly. But in Islam, we learn that following your desires and the temptations, it's coming from shaitan. Maybe it feels good right now in the moment to follow your temptations and your desires, but eventually it will lead to destruction. If you look at the consequences of following your desires in these aspects, it makes complete sense. And that's what I mean with Islam. Islam is the only religion that really stands for its beliefs and puts a boundary at, like, we don't do this. We stand for what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what God has commanded us. And there, I didn't find any religion on this planet Earth that had such high level of faith and discipline and structure. Alhamdulillah.
How did you hear about Islam for the first time?
The first time I heard about Islam, in a very negative. The media has a very good way of making that stereotype because I didn't give myself the opportunity to really learn what Islam was about. And thankfully over the past 3 years I've really learned and discovered exactly what Islam is, and that's the religion of peace.
If there was a chance to speak to all non-Muslims in the world, especially for the ones who have prejudice to Islam, what would you like to say?
Learn from your own personal experiences, not the media. Travel the world, travel to Muslim majority countries, and give yourself the opportunity and the time to speak to Muslims and learn about their journey, their stories and their life, because I promise it will never be what the media says. And also when you travel around the world and if you see any kind of negativity, just know that Islam is perfect and Muslims are not.
Do you think there is an increasing Islamophobia in Belgium or in the rest of Europe?
Yes, because it's obvious in the medias, in some politicians. So definitely there is a sentiment of Islamophobia growing. Yet I clearly saw in Belgium a lot of people wanted to know about Islam. That was a very new thing. They wanted, okay, so what is about this religion? I want to understand what's the point. For some people, it's the occasion to get to know Islam. I have several friends who came and say, okay, I want to become Muslim. And I said, come on, are you serious?
For someone who's curious about Islam, how would you recommend to research Islam? Is it enough to write "What is Islam" on Google?
No. If you type in "What is Islam" on Google, I think you will also find a lot of the things that are not true, you know, the news and all of this kinds of stuff. If what I did in the beginning is just going to people with knowledge, it can be on a different levels. I mean, it can be just a friend that you know that knows about Islam, the basics of Islam.
And if there was a chance to speak to all the non-Muslims in the world and they're listening to you, what would you like to say to them?
If I would just give them one reminder, it starts with remember that you will die. Ask questions about life. Ask critical questions about life, because you will die. And what happens? Life is a test for everyone. Every creature has its own purpose. You know, a cow produces milk, a bee produces honey, and every single animal that you see is really giving something and having a purpose, is following their purpose. Every animal doesn't even have a brain to clearly think. They just operate based on their natural behavior. They are just having the fitra. Every animal has their own purpose, but we as humans have a free will. We are the only ones in this universe from what we know right now. We have a free will. We can choose between good and bad. We're gonna die. Life is a test. We need to choose between good and bad. It's just ask questions about life and you will end up with Islam. I just invite you to ask critical questions, and I truly believe in my heart that everyone that asks critical questions in life will end up with Islam, inshallah. If you open up your heart, if you pray, inshallah, Allah will open up your heart, yes.
If you had a chance to speak to all the non-Muslims in the world and you have only 1 minute, what would you like to say to them?
I always say to people, and my non-Muslim friends, when they ask me, if you seek the truth, if you open your heart and you put your prejudices to one side and you genuinely seek the truth and pray, God, I don't know whether you're there or you're not there, but if you are there, guide me to the truth.
If you had a chance to speak to all the non-Muslims in the world, what would you like to say to them if you had just 1 minute?
My message would be, don't listen to media, don't listen to politicians that speak negative about Islam. Do your own research. You're always responsible for your own knowledge. If you don't understand anything, do research. And it's very easy. There's a lot of content on social media. You can read a lot about Islam. Go to a mosque, speak to an imam, go to Muslims, talk about this religion, and just don't follow blindly what the media and politicians are telling you. Do your own research, and then you will find out, inshallah, that Islam is the solution and Islam is the truth.
Why do you think this society needs Islam?
Dude, everybody needs Islam. Everybody needs... It's the truth, man. That's the simple answer. It's just the best way to connect with the Creator.